Harry's fatal mistake. Meghan's greed for royal money. Sussex in the bush. Harry is well aware that his family is always watching out for each other, and they were probably right, except they opened their lips and started all those poisonous lies. They clearly believed that they would still receive their allowance despite their disagreeable behavior, and believed that they would get the security and all the benefits that came with their old job. Meghan and Harry probably thought they should only give up the sovereign grant money when they walked away from the royal family. Now, since the sovereign grant was only 5% of their income, they probably just assumed that their private companies would more than make up for the resulting 5% loss. They didn't expect to have to pay for services like security. They simply thought they could retain all the privileges of being a member of the royal family by giving up their royal duties. The late Queen made it clear that Meghan and Harry would never be allowed to be half and half. Royals Meghan and Harry have seen how much money other famous people have been able to make and mistakenly assume that they can leverage their fame and make as much money as those other people. Now, I don't know who convinced them there was a market for their brand, but that person lied. Clearly, Meghan and Harry grossly overestimated the interest in their romance. So maybe Meghan and Harry now understand how good they were when they were royals. If Charles doesn't subsidize their daily expenses, Meghan and Harry may have to return to the UK for financial reasons. Now under N says it wouldn't be a problem, but after all the exposure of their fraudulent lies, which in the everyone would like to donate to their charities from the Artwell charity, I suspect they are broke at the moment and increasingly desperate. Don't think Harry can have much left of his legacy. I think he's just waiting for his last piece of cash to arrive when he turns 40. Now, if Meghan Markle stays that long, she'll be gone. I don't think there are many people who donate to their stupid charity other than the few people who still want to agree with them for some reason. So, first of all, most people have never even heard of Archwell. Especially compared to an organization like the Cancer Society or St. Jude or United Fund. And another thing is that a lot of people who are into the kind of philanthropy that Meghan and Harry are so desperate to get involved in are all into a mutual kind of you. Scratch my back and I'll scratch your type of relationship. So if the matching gifts aren't obtained from Meghan and Harry, it could dry up completely. And I don't think those $5 or $10 donations that Joe Lunchbucket might give will be enough to support their way of life. We have already noted that Meghan has a very free relationship with reality. I think she really believed that she and Harry could be like the Obamas. She thought she could make $1 million with every speech, and we all know Meghan likes to be spoken to like a black woman. She could go on and on about how hard it was to hear someone talk about their mother as an insider, without having to deal with any kind of racism. Firsthand. Well, he came and ruined all their plans. Meghan dreamed of earning at least $1 billion in that first year. As those dreams quickly crumbled. He never really did his own thing. If Harry did something for himself, even buying a property, then at least he would know a little about but it involved. Perhaps he could have developed some understanding of accounting and independence and in and out of everyday life. Most homebuyers learn a lot from a basic budget. It's clear now that Harry was well paid and most of the expenses for his trip had been covered, so he didn't learn anything about the real value of money. And that's why I don't like plastic money at all. All these government-sponsored banks are trying to convince us that we need to stop using the money we need to do things their way. Well, it's just so we can play for our own money. I think that's a big mistake, because how are you going to teach kids the value of dollars when none of them have ever touched a dollar? There is more and more debt piled up on ordinary citizens, and it is all too easy to get into serious debt when it comes to these credit cards. You see, Harry was lazy and took everything for granted. Everything was handed over to him and he never faced any consequences. I think the royal family could have understood money better. They could have divided his money into salaries like he could get the cost of rent and the cost of insurance and education, etc. And then they could have given him another piece of silver and explained. Okay, that has to pay for food, fuel, transportation, clothes, etc. You see, Harry could have learned good habits if things had been done like this. Harry could also have learned that it is important to save money because you never know what will happen. At 36, Harry said he felt trapped. I mean, a lot of Harry was so used to living in the palace, not having to worry about finances and even not having to worry about his behavior. It was spoiled rotten. Harry had never lived alone, had never had a budget, had never had to pay his own way in his life, and obviously Harry was quite lazy, and we know he's not very smart either. And what about me before she married Harry when he had to earn his own money? She was quite the hoarder. She didn't buy a car, she doesn't have a house, so no, I don't see Meghan as an independent feminist. She has always used men to pay her way, she never had to be completely financially independent. Her father paid for her existence for a long, long time, even though she took him for granted. He paid for his dear things. Meghan just had to worry about vanity purchases. Now, these two have never been financially independent, and that's why they waste so much money. They spend money like tomorrow will never come and for life. They used other people. As for Meghan, she only cares about what she wants and will obviously buy the most expensive things she can. She didn't respect the money Harry gave her even in the royal family, because I guess she thought, well, it's not my money I'm wasting, so it's really no wonder she has such a twisted sense of the value of money. Meghan has only ever depended on men to pay her way, and it's clear that Meg handles the money, all it can do is use and abuse. Money embezzlement. He abuses other people, but now he has a lot of money. However, this will never be enough, because the more money he takes from others, the higher his spending limit will be. I mean, there's this mortgage, they're paying off this stupid house, they could have easily bought a more reasonable house, but no, they had to have the most extravagant thing possible. So now they're in debt and interest rates are skyrocketing. The cost of maintaining this house is also astronomical, but I don't think Meghan really cares because she just assumes she's about to come up with a new scam. If the money starts to run out, no, his whole life, he used scams to get what he wanted. I think he learned that from his mother, and it seems the way they spend the money is similar. They don't know how to live within their means, they have a lot of debt. I mean, even with their loved ones, they had debts they couldn't pay, and that's why. Has nothing to do with them anymore, he's not as smart as he thinks he is. I mean, he only attacks other people because, as we know, his lies have been completely plagiarized by other people as well. You can tell because you can search for it and you can find the same story that another person told. We all know what he's talking about, so I don't know who he thinks he's kidding at this point, and I just hope Charles lets them drown because they'll never grow up and learn a lesson. Why am I so incredibly? Why do they act like little children? Well, I guess they don't understand the real world. The real world means you have to work to make money, and it's not just about spending every penny you have on stupid bullshit. I think Harry actually needs a lot less to live than Meghan, but both are so stuck on the issue of safety. It's just ridiculous. I can't believe how ungrateful they are, both biting the hands that have fed them for so long. And you know that in the real world, most of us aren't criminals, and in fact, we have to work to earn money. How dare they blame the palace for not giving them more money when they stopped working? I guess Meghan just figured out that since Harry was earning money doing nothing, he might be in the same boat as him. Well, you know what? No, that's not true. There's no one in the world who makes a ton of money for doing nothing. They really think they know it all. Good. I guess they're pretty shocked and don't even seem to care. They continue to spend the money that comes to hand. They thought that when they escaped from the UK they would really earn their millions. But of course they were wrong, and Harry believed that his father would continue to pay for absolutely everything. What an idiot. And I don't know what's wrong with Harry because William isn't like that. But still, Harry completely destroyed his relationship with his brother. Don't think William wants to deal with Harry. As long as Meghan is still around, he will leave them alone, and it seems the only thing Meghan knows is to hide behind the devices. She is really comfortable attacking the royals for as long as who doesn't have to do it face to face. Think what they did on Netflix and what he did on his dumb podcast series. Now Harry had money because he trapped himself and had his late mother's money. But now it's gone. And Meghan begs other people to help her pay off their debts, but you know what? It never helped anyone. The only thing Meghan is willing to give anyone is a hard time. Meghan actually thought she knew all about independence. Well, of course not. He believed that keeping his public relations was the key to marriage by deception. She assumed the building would never be on her. Come on, Meghan. They knew everything about you from the start. After all, building is a business. It's not just a joint family. Nothing happens to anyone without hard work or, in the case of Meghan Markle, lying and begging.